Here on Kiwi Time now. It's 19 away from 8.
The voice of the creative economy, Vincent Heeringa with Whammo on Kiwi.
It's from my dear log, good NZ Marketing's stoppress.co.nz, the HB Media Empire. It is Vincent Heeringa this morning. Morning, Vincent.
Good morning, Whammo. How are you?
Very well. How are the chickens?
Chickens are good.
They're all fed.
Preparing for the thunderstorm.
Yep, they've got their coop, they've got their roost, place where they hide out.
Oh, look, they're in the Taj Mahal of chicken coops. I tell you, they have it's a virtual national park for them in our backyard.
Oh, brilliant. We've got life has got to be good being a chicken at Vincent Heeringa's house.
It's very simple being a chicken. You just
scratch in the dirt,
pluck and scratch.
Yeah.
Only it was as simple as that for the rest of us.
Well, that's right. But you're here to help, thank goodness, with part 3 of our...
Thank goodness for Vincent.
Part 3 of our Ideas and Innovation series.
Yes.
Specifically looking at the youth today, is that right?
Well, we looked at the first last week and the week before, where do ideas come from and what qualifies as a good business idea? Because, you can have millions of ideas, but what makes a good one? And then... if you're bereft of ideas, where can you go? And I just wanted to touch on today is what do you do after you've had your idea, your winning idea, and you're on your way to being Bill Gates or Sam Morgan? What do you do next? It's especially poignant this morning, Whammo, because there is a very good piece by Fran O'Sullivan in the Herald about the state of youth employment, or shall we say youth unemployment, which between 15 to 19-year-olds are spiralling as high as 25%.
Pretty high.
In the country. It's very high and mirrors what's happening in the Northern Hemisphere or in our OECD cousins, where overall young people are having trouble finding employment.
So, and with that in mind... I mean, isn't it the younger people who have the ideas that often bring breakthroughs?
Well, particularly in technology, and there's a really terrific piece in the latest Ideologue about what you can do with, say, for instance, government data. The government produce tons and tons of data, and they're increasingly making this data. I'm talking about mapping data or police crime data or real estate data or, kind of information that comes out of land transport. What can be done with that data with a clever person with a cell phone and an ability to do a bit of coding there's no limits, really. I was just listening to the BBC this morning. Sorry, Whammo, I don't wake up to you every day.
Oh, I'm gutted.
There you go. There's a new GPS system that's just been developed in the UK that can track people by cell phone down to the last 3 meters.
Yeah,
which is amazing, and that's an app that you can download onto your cell phone for, I don't know, tracking your children or something. But the point is that you're quite right. Young people have, they have an energy and a passion and often a technological nous that puts them in a great position to do breakthrough technologies.
So, if young people have these ideas and they're able to do the innovation, but they're currently overrepresented in the unemployment statistics, what does that say? What
do we do? And Business Week has a lovely line. They're bright, eager, and unwanted. And I think kind of the real key to being an entrepreneur is not to look for a job, but it's to make a job. So there's the first sort of, I guess, characteristic or commitment that you need to make is, I can't wait for someone to employ me. So long as I'm waiting, I'll just be a taker. I actually have to make my own job.
Yeah.
And that's a characteristic of all, kind of motivated entrepreneurs who are self-starters. So here are 3 areas, Whammo, that I reckon, just from my own experience and also having interviewed many, many entrepreneurs over the years, here's 3 ways to get started. I think first the the single-minded, passionate commitment to an idea or to a cause or to a piece of technology that you just can't get away from. Like in the latest ideologue too, there's a profile of Dick Frizzell. Who would ever have recommended to their kids that they become an artist? And yet he's a wealthy, very, in terms of financial wealth, he's a very comfortable and successful man, but he absolutely pursued his art with a passion and has made a career out of it. And he didn't wait for someone to give him a job,
But I mean that took decades, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not denying that. But I'm saying that passion will get you a long way in life. A friend of ours is John T. King, the maker of Under the Mountain, which is coming out very soon, and let's all go see it. There is a guy who is just absolutely passionately committed to filmmaking. Whether he's rich or poor, he will do it anyway, and he's made a career out of it. So you can't undermine that kind of passionate gene, whether you've got a business idea or an artistic idea, it will get you a long way to securing you a career. It's
hard to break through because we've heard that before, the whole thing about passion. We've heard that that's what you need, but it's hard to break through the fact that sounds generic, doesn't it? I mean, it sounds a cliche.
It also sounds condescending and trivial, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's so true. I mean, if you're really passionate about something, it will happen.
It's not that, it's a bit like telling people to be happy. There's, and unless you're going to do it, there's not much you can do from the outside to help somebody. But if they are passionate about what they do and they are prepared to suffer for the sake of the long term to get their idea out into the market or to get their film made or to the book written or whatever it is, that will get them a long way to fulfilling the dream. So, passion, I think, is one of the characteristics of self-made people. The second thing is there are mechanisms to help. I just spent a few hours last week out at the AUT Business Innovation Centre in Manukau, and that is an amazing place where if you've got a business idea, anything, you could turn up with your little widget and Food Town bag and sit down and they will listen to you and give you the time of day. They've taken an idea from a guy who was a builder who was sitting in traffic one day, noticed all the brake lights coming on in the traffic in front of him and thought, geez, what would you do with all that energy if you could capture it?
Yeah.
Well, what he did was calculate, he's a bit of an engineer, he calculated that if you captured the energy of all those braking cars, you could actually power something, you could actually generate electricity. And as a result of being at the Business Innovation Centre, he has developed a generator which is like a speed bump, so when a car drives over it, it generates a little bit of electricity.
Fantastic idea, yeah.
It's cool, isn't it? Yeah. So, there are incubators. There's one at Auckland University called ICE, the ICE House, which is fantastic. Lots of there's one at AUT, there's one at Massey. There's plenty of places to get help for your idea. So, just because you're passionate doesn't mean you can't actually get some help. Mm-hmm. And the third thing is we're, at the moment at HB, we're almost overwhelmed with the number of interns that are throwing themselves at our mercy, which is kind of fantastic because, we're getting through a pile of work thanks to the interns. But there's nothing like actually just volunteering and immersing yourself in a place of employment and making those skills available.
Absolutely agree with that. Yep.
And we've ended up employing at least, we've only got 12 people or 13 people in the office, and 3 of them have come from internships. So those are 3 things that you could do if you are young, talented, unemployed, and you've got passion for an idea. Get yourself out there and get amongst it. I know that sounds incredibly bossy and instructive, but there are ways, Wemo.
And in your career, in your life, have you employed any of those tactics, any of those ideas?
Well, I did in my own, but I was lucky that I got a job, but I spent a year in the wilderness doing part-time work as a maths teacher, would you believe it, and a wine waiter on the weekend. So no social life. All in pursuit of becoming a writer. That's all I wanted to do, was to become a writer for Metro magazine, and
yep.
I ended up getting the job there. Mostly just through constant pounding of the editor Warwick Roger. I just sent him story after story and pestered him until he had no choice but to employ me.
There's an example of passion, dedication, and volunteering, all that.
It does work.
Yeah,
it does work. And the thing is, with 62,700 unemployed young people, you're going to wait a long time for an employer to notice you. So change the odds by being proactive and turn up with something. Don't just turn up and say I want a job, but turn up with ideas, because ideas are what we need at the moment in New Zealand.
Well, that's part 3 of Ideas and Innovation.